Hi, this is Jenna.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And we are happy to be here today. I feel like we didn't record yet last week for some reason. It feels like so long ago.
It does feel so long ago, but it's also really gloomy outside today, so it's making me feel like it's not summer.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a time warp, which is fun because we're in our time warp series right now.
It's like we went back in time and we're still in winter.
Yeah, like I feel like it's January, February. It's so gloomy. But we're next to the beach, so I wonder if it's gloomy, like if it's just like overcast and it'll go away.
It's so gloomy outside. The sky just looks like it's like white.
Yeah, just like
gray
skies. The kids are so sad though because they get out of school tomorrow and it's like not summer. It's not sunny here, and they want to put out their we have a bunch of like water play toys for the backyard, like a slip and slide.
Oh, we have the pool.
We have the pool. We have all sorts of stuff for the outdoor world of like, we pretty much make my backyard into like a water park.
Yeah.
And they keep wanting to, and I'm like, it's not cold enough or hot enough yet. It's too cold. Look, it's all like cloudy, and it's not just like cloudy and hot. It's like cold too. Like it's okay to wear like a jacket. It won't like. Yeah, I was wearing a jacket all day yesterday, the past few days.
Yeah, I have quarter sleeves on, or almost full sleeves, and I brought a sweater.
Yeah, so it's so weird. This whole thing, this weather is weird. They've weather modified some pretty messed up. They've stirred up some really weird weather modification patterns here.
Well, our listeners will have to go back to our previous episodes because they have. And they're blocking the sun.
Yeah. And then also to our new listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We were looking at we
were looking at the analytics.
The analytics
of our growth since we have been over 1 year now. Since February.
Yeah, it's been almost a year and a half. And so we just every week I look at the analytics. Well, I do it obsessively every day, but I share them with Heather so we can like get that week or month or whatever it is, and it has substantially grown just from last month.
Well, so, didn't it say it was up 145%
from last month, last 30 days.
Oh, was it 30 days?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know.
Yeah, no. So, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you're new to our podcast, be sure to go back and listen to our past episodes because they are good. And I just want to say that we're very appreciative and keep on listening. So as I said, that we are in our time traveling era.
Yes.
We're doing a bunch of time travel stuff right now. So today I'm going to be talking about the Green Kids of Woolpit.
Green Kids
of Woolpit. Yes, there was green kids that came to visit the citizens of Woolpit, England.
Ooh.
In the 1700s. So, as we know, this occurred. Oh no, I'm sorry. This occurred during the 1100s.
Oh, okay.
Not 1700s. I'm sorry. That was totally, I don't know where I saw 1700s.
You did your own time travel.
I tried to do my own time travel. It was the 1100s, and as you know, they didn't have the greatest record keeping 900 years ago. And depending on if the phantom years existed or not, it may only be 500 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
That
depends on what year we're really in.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was just a little throwback to 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, anyways, all this information came from everything I'm going to talk about came from two different medieval writers. They wrote about it in the Middle Ages. It was Ralph of Coggeshall, who died in 1266, and he wrote about the green children in the book Chronicum Anglicanum. So, very fancy words for a fancy time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And William of Newburgh And he was alive from 1136 to 1198, and he wrote about these children in the Historia Rerum Anglicarum. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Anglicarum or something means like book, newspaper, something like that. And these writers were very they didn't joke a lot back then. They didn't write satire back then.
Okay.
So they wrote factual things. They did have fables and stories and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have like The Onion that we have now, which is like a satire newspaper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That just wasn't how things were done back then. They didn't do that. So people believe them to be true and these stories to be true. So this happened in the village of Woolpit in the county Suffolk, which is in East Anglia in eastern England.
Okay.
And
in the 1100s.
And this happened in the 1100s. Okay. So William of Newburgh, who wrote about it, was alive during this time. So he was born 1136 and he died on 1198. So they don't know exactly when the children visited, but it was during the reign of King Stephen, and he ruled from 1135 to 1154. So we can kind of pinpoint it, like it had to be somewhere within those 19 years. And like I said, William of Newburgh was born in 1136 and died 1198. When he wrote about it, it would have been right after that happened or during that time. So he would have possibly had a first-hand, if not second, third-hand experience with it, stories of the telling of these children. So the two children that visited, it was a little boy and a little girl, and they say that they visited from another dimension.
Okay. I was wondering if they were going to say that they were from another planet.
Well, there is that. It could be another planet. It could be another dimension. It could be as simple as they were sick. And it was a sickness that medieval medicine just was unaware of. But regardless of that, who are the children? Where did they come from?
And why turn green? Of all, like if you're sick, I would think you would get really pale or get like maybe like blue lips or like kind of like or maybe even some kind of bruising or something. Yeah. But green, it's just
we'll get into common. That too. So the people were out like hunting, mm-hmm. and they used to have what was called wolf pits.
Oh.
Do you know what a wolf pit is?
I would assume that you dig some kind of pit and you put some kind of spikes in it, and then maybe an animal, maybe even a wolf, would fall into it.
So close.
And then they would capture it.
That's the idea of it, except without the spikes.
Oh, okay.
And it would be a deep enough hole that the wolf wouldn't be able to get out of. And it is for wolves.
It is wolves.
It is for wolves, and but they would put like leaves and branches over it, mm-hmm. so you don't even know you're stepping on it.
Yeah,
and you just fall through, like in the Indiana Jones movies,
like a trap door,
a trap pit. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
So it's a trap pit with like leaves and branches. It's like what you would see in like Looney Tunes, right?
Yeah. I just imagine it with spikes, so that way the animal would die.
That would make sense, but no. Maybe some of them did have some sort of spikes. This one didn't, because the children did survive, but so the hunters were going out and like hunting, mm-hmm. and they found the children in the wolf pit.
Oh.
They've gone into it.
The green children?
Yes. They found the boy and the girl just like in the wolf pit. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, okay. I wonder how long they were in. Okay, now I want to know more details about this. Okay.
So the kids could not speak English.
Okay.
And they were wearing like weird clothing, like not of this time period, not of this anything, not of this world type of clothes. Like they've never seen this type of clothes.
So different materials,
yes,
different styling.
The colors were wrong. The materials, exactly. There was unknown materials. Like they didn't even know. Like, I mean, I'm sure that like even for our time, having satin, I'm sure they didn't have satin back then, because satin is just synthetic silk. They wouldn't have known how to do synthetic shit back then.
Or they maybe wouldn't have things like Velcro.
Yeah, because Velcro
snaps.
had to be... snaps. Yeah, all of the simple things. Zippers. Yeah, exactly.
They probably didn't have...
They probably
would be
barely... Yeah, and then even buttons, it's probably like they used like rocks or something. Or or it was just all tied.
I would think that they would use bone for buttons.
That would be cute, like pebbles. You're just thinking of the Flintstones.
Or shells.
Yeah.
No, because they still use shell.
Yeah.
I just got a blouse that has shell, like little, looks like abalone shell buttons.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that would be really cute.
Yeah.
So, anyways, and what else was weird was that their skin was green, like we've been saying. So then I was like, all right, what can make your skin go green? Apparently, I Googled it, it's hypochromic, and it is a vitamin B6 deficiency, which also has low iron, and it also would be like anemia. It's like it's pretty much, hypochromic is the generic term for any type of anemia.
Okay.
And that, I guess, can make...
Low iron.
Can make your skin turn green if it's that low, which is insane.
That is weird.
Also, infections as a hookworm can make your skin turn green. And then copic toxicity, like lead poisoning.
Which they probably would have.
Did I say copper toxicity? I think I said copper. It's copper toxicity and lead poisoning. Yeah. Which now there's so many safeguards for those things. People don't turn green. But when you think about it and you have a fake ring on that's not real, your finger does turn green.
And I think a lot of things would have had lead in them back then. Like makeup.
They wouldn't have had makeup in the 1100s, did they?
Yeah, I'm sure they had some sort of makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had makeup.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they had makeup. And I know that makeup did have all kinds of weird lead and different things.
Yeah. So... it was just a different time back then. So it could have been any of those things that they just were unaware of, the problems that, low iron could have. Anyways, the kids were taken in by a local leader named Richard de Caulnay. And at first, they only ate raw beans. So they didn't eat anything. And then they saw some raw beans sitting in a bag,
just hard raw beans.
Ate raw beans. Yeah, it just says raw beans.
They must have had really strong teeth.
Yeah,
because to be able to bite down on a raw bean.
But I might only be thinking of this because they're green kids. I was thinking of string beans or
oh, I'm thinking like a pinto bean.
Yeah, because there's lots of different kinds of beans, and I hate beans, so I don't know all the different kinds, and I don't know how they come. I just know that there are hard ones, and there are green beans that are soft. They turn out soft. I don't know if they start soft.
They are always crunchy, but they're not hard. Yeah.
So that was all they ate. Then we're talking months, they only ate beans. Then they slowly started to eat more of a variety of foods. And then suddenly their color did fade and they became normal skin color.
So it would be really interesting to know exactly what kind of beans they ate because, if you're pregnant and you crave something, the doctor says, oh, you're craving milk because your body needs vitamin D.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So maybe whatever was in those beans, their body was craving it, and then that's why that's all they wanted to eat.
Maybe. I don't know. So, anyways, they ended up baptizing these children who didn't even speak English yet. They wanted to baptize them because apparently that's the thing to do. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the boy ended up dying before he ever learned English. So, shortly after being baptized, he died.
Yeah, English is pretty hard to learn.
It's fucking weird, though, that he died after he's baptized. The girl stayed and was able to learn English and then was able to tell the people, where she came from, how they got here, what she remembered as being, before.
Okay, yeah, what did she say?
So the girl said that she came from a place named St. Martin's Island. And that it was very green and there was no sunlight. Which I wonder if there's no sunlight, if that is why they had such green skin, maybe. And then the sunlight also helped to make their skin color turn back to normal.
The weird thing that I'm thinking is, how is it so green if there's no sun?
That's weird too. It's almost like the Blue Dabbadia song where everything is blue, but this time everything is green.
Everything
I
is
have
green.
a green girlfriend and a greenhouse too. Yeah.
Or it reminds me of Sundong.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I forgot the name of it.
The cave.
The cave
that you did.
Sundong.
But if there was no light, then why would they have eyeballs? Because remember the Sundong Jom or whatever cave it was? They did, like, some of the animals didn't even have, like, eyeballs.
Well, because certain parts were completely dark, but there was openings in the cave
Yeah.
where there was light.
So there was no sunlight so she couldn't physically see the sun, but there was light coming through here and there. The girl said that they were feeding their father's flock of animals when they heard church bells that they'd never heard before. And they never had heard bells before. And at the time they didn't even know like what they were, and they just became like super entranced and started to follow the church bells.
Oh, wow.
And when they walked toward the church bells, they ended up in East Angela, where they were found.
But wait a minute, if they lived on an island, how did they walk?
Exactly. That's the problem.
There had to be some kind of land bridge.
Okay. Or there was a
with
time
high tide, it maybe, or low tide, it would get covered. Is that possible? Maybe
that could be.
Yeah.
Or because they'd never heard them before, and she didn't even know what they were until now. Now they were used to the bells because it was the same bells that were being played in this town. So I think that they wandered into like a time dimension portal.
It's possible.
So they said that they did believe in Christ, they were Christian, and that there were churches and everything. But obviously no church bells because they'd never heard the church bells before. And she even compared the church bells. She was like, we heard these church bells.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what they were at the time. So that means in her whole existence, she had never heard those church bells before, ever, even though the church had been there forever.
Until something opened up.
Something had to have opened.
And then they were able to hear it, and then it called them toward.
Yeah. So, and then they said that there was churches, all that, but the sun did not rise, and they only got like little beams of light. And that they would get some like sort of like twilight, like dawn and dusk type twilight 2 times a day. So that would be the sun rising and everything, setting and rising.
I wonder if they did live in some kind of cave, and there could still be an island
within the cave.
Because remember, the cave that we went over had 2 jungles in it. So it could have had little islands.
Little pockets.
Yeah. And what if they somehow... That's would explain the light, the absence of the actual sun.
Well, so then they had also said that from their country, they could see another country. So on their island, they could see another country, and that country did get light. And the sun, like, went straight onto that country, like, all the time had light.
Okay, then that rules out my cave theory.
And there was a large river dividing both locations, which then goes to your sand bridge thing. But why wouldn't they have ever heard the bells before? So I think that it seems like the children did come from like some sort of subterranean country, like below ground type.
So maybe like a cave?
Like a cave, but like below.
Yeah.
And so people tried to like look up St. Martin cities and people who have looked into this.
That sounds like East Coast. Like, isn't there all the saint things on the East Coast?
St. Martin is a small island in the Keys.
Yeah.
Or like over there in Florida. But current St. Martin cities were named like well after this time period. So there wasn't any of that then.
And maybe that's what they named it after. This place.
Well, there was, hold on, I was trying to look at my notes, because there was another, we'll get to it, because there is another one, where it is, here, okay, here, so here are some theories of what popular theories of what maybe where these children came from, what's going on with them. And one popular theory is that St. Martin's Land was actually the village of Fordham, St. Martin. And they were just like, because they're little kids, they're just like, oh, we came from St. Martin's Land. But really it was Fordham, St. Martin. Mm-hmm. And the villagers there were horribly massacred. And this was during the reign of Henry II. So this would have been around 1173. Mm-hmm. And these were Flemish speakers and were about 1 mile north of Woolpit.
Which would make sense why there wasn't any adults with them if they were maybe the last surviving of their people.
Orphans, yeah. It is a possibility that a few kids were able to escape and could have sheltered in the local tin mines. And
which
the
would
tin,
make sense.
The green, the copper, the tin.
And also the lack of the sun and the light.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Then they would have came out of the mines suffering from the malnutrition, causing the anemia and all the greens, like all of that.
Yeah.
The problem herein lies that the massacre was in 1173. The kids came between 1135 and 1154. They came 20 years or too early.
Oh, yeah.
20 to 40 years too early. So
that doesn't add up.
Yeah. And also, the man who took the kids, that cared for them, Richard de Calton, was educated. Like, very an educated man, and most likely would have recognized the Flemish accent and clothing. That he did not recognize, like, the dialect. He didn't recognize, like, whatever language they were in, it was completely different than anything that he had ever heard. So it's like us, like, if we heard Chinese, we don't know what Chinese is, but we know the dialect to be like, oh, it's Chinese, it's Japanese, it's something over, like, Asian, you know?
Yeah.
And then for, like, Spanish, like, we don't know, we know Spanish more than anything, but we would at least know, or French, we would know the dialect. Like, this is, like, almost, like, something completely different. It'd be like if somebody came to us, like, clicking. Like, okay, go.
Yeah, it's like you know what they're speaking, you just can't understand what they're saying, but you know the language.
But you know that what they're speaking, and this was not Flemish at all. This is nothing that he had ever heard. And also the description of St. Martin's Land, it didn't match anything of this world. And just anything for that, I shouldn't say of this world, but for that time period.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's more for, like, that time period, and anything that's so close to them for a child to walk, it just didn't match anything. Mm-hmm. There was nothing like that there.
And did it say anything about the age of these children? About
they
the
were
age
just
range?
young. They were, like, 7, 8, 9.
Like elementary?
Like, little, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't, like, toddler, but they were big enough to, like, take care of themselves-ish.
Because especially back then, if they were already teenagers, they would probably be considered adults.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yeah. No, these were probably 6, 7, 8-year-old.
Okay.
Second theory, was it a hoax? Which we already kind of talked about. Like I said, apparently people in the Middle Ages, they just didn't make things up like this. They were too busy surviving, you know, and doing hard labor to give one shit about making something up. Like they didn't have that kind of time. They didn't get bored like we do to do that shit, you know.
I'm sure that they had their own
way of entertainment, but it hadn't gotten to satire yet.
I can see
they were out working on a farm and shit and trying to survive.
Yeah, but I can see plays and puppets and things like that for kids and that kind of entertainment happening.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, because this is the 1100s. It's a really long time ago. Mm-hmm. So, and for number 2, for 2 of them to be in on it, it would just be weird because they were both in 2 different locations, and for both of these 2 different writers to be in on it at the same time, it's not adding up. Mm-hmm. And William and Ralph were part of the church, which doesn't really hold water nowadays. But back then, if you were caught lying while part of the church, the consequences were just dire. So they wouldn't chance that because the way that they wrote it is that this is factual. They did not preface it as this is a story, this is a fable, this is for entertainment purposes. They prefaced it as this happened. This is an account of what happened.
And Did they even know each other?
No, I don't know. It doesn't say that they knew each other, and that's why I was saying that for both of them.
They would have to like conspire together to agree upon. Like,
and they were in
this
two
is
different.
The story.
Yeah, they were two different cities and everything. So and like I said, if they were caught lying, being part of the church, that'd be death sentence. Like there'd just be no point to it. What would be the motive of it, right? Mm-hmm. So the third theory is that some modern scholars think it could have just been ancient British folklore. And this would have been common at the time. However, like we've been saying, the format that it was written was more of a first-person telling than a fable. And then fables, like all those folklores, they always have a reasoning. They always have like the big bad wolf, you know, what would be the moral of the story,
or the purpose?
Like they all tell.
Eat your green beans, so you don't turn green. I don't know.
Yeah,
like what?
I don't. Yeah, that's exactly. Don't fall in a wolf pit. Like, don't follow the bells of the church. Like, I don't know what it would be. So,
I don't know.
Of course, some people believe that they are from outer space and they fell from heaven. That was a theory, that they just fell from heaven, which would be like outer space. And I think that they may have come through some sort of time portal from either like the past or the future.
But why green? If it's a time portal, they would just look like a person.
Because if it went far enough, through time, if it was far enough over, let's say it was 5,000, maybe we're all green by then because we adapt to whatever's going on, right?
Oh, in the future.
So in the future, our bodies are always adapting. So what if they came from 5,000, whatever?
So we're gonna evolve to little green men.
Yes. Maybe we'll mate with little green men, and then that's how we turn into green. Who knows? But I do know that we are evolving, and so all the time, with every generation, you kind of evolve a step towards whatever way that it's gonna end up being evolved to.
Yeah.
So, right?
I don't know. I like the time. I like the evolution. Yeah, I like the time portal theory.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That one's a lot of fun because I can see them coming with different clothes, and they would have different language.
Yeah, could you imagine if we went to this time period just from nowadays? And we went there and we're like, hey guys, what's up? They'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're all, thou shalt not.
Oh my gosh, we'd probably be witches.
Yeah. They'd be like, I don't even know how to talk like they would have. All proper. Make haste.
I don't know.
Sorrows, pity, sorrows. All I have is Queen Charlotte. Bridgerton, yeah. Make haste. We must make haste.
Did the new one come out yet?
Yes. The first 4 episodes came out, and then for season 3, the first 4, and they're marrying off Colin in this one. Colin and Penelope are gonna get together. Okay. But so the first 4 episodes already came out, and on June 9th, and then the next 4 episodes. So I'm waiting. It's June 9th is the last 4. So if you haven't already started the first 4, either do it now or just wait, because if I could, I should have waited.
I'm gonna wait then.
Yeah, I totally it might be tomorrow or it's the 9th. I don't know why it would come out on a Sunday. But it's coming out this week and I can't fucking wait. So I'm waiting, and I keep seeing it, and I've been rewatching Queen Charlotte now.
Yeah.
I love Bridgerton. I want to read the stories too. I want to read the books, I think.
But that's even before this.
Yeah.
That's way before this.
Wait, the Bridgerton and all that was in the 1700s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is $500 or $500
years. $500
$500 difference.
Depending on which timeline you're at.
I know. But I said dollar instead of years.
And then of course there's people that just believe the children didn't ever exist. They were just stories, like we said. Yeah. There's been many books and plays, movies, all sorts of things have been adapted from this unsolved mystery. And so it's kind of sprinkled into the fabric of our media and entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they were actually just reptilian children
that came from the subterranean inner world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is the children of Woolpit, England. Yep. So what do you guys think? I'm going with time travel.
Time travel?
I'm going with time travel.
So it's us from the future coming back?
Yeah. I think it's from the future and they hit like some sort of time loop thing. I definitely do. What about you?
I don't know.
They went through one, yeah, for sure.
If the massacre,
and then of course people. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
If the massacre didn't have that 20-year gap, if it maybe only had like a couple-year gap, I would think that it could be from that.
Yeah.
Because that makes
so much sense.
That's logical that could happen.
Or they might have just gotten all the dates wrong. They could have
gotten the dates
because
wrong.
Like even so they know that it happened during King Stephen's reign. Right? They from what they understand, maybe it didn't happen from them, or maybe they did get the dates wrong of the massacre or King Stephen's reign, because record keeping was not that great back then.
But wasn't it? I mean,
or
maybe it was.
What if King Stephen was actually, instead of 1135 to whatever, what if he was actually 1235 to whatever? And that massacre happened, okay, get this, that massacre happened in 1170, and then there were people that escaped. And these children were part of the new civilization, and they called it St. Martin's Island because they found refuge, and it was like kind of in one of the caves, and that's all they knew. And they knew it as St. Martin's, like, refugee island type thing instead of Fawhorns, whatever.
Yeah.
And so maybe they were like the next generation or the next generation, and they have no idea.
They're like the offspring.
Yeah, they're the offspring of the orphans, of the people who were able to escape. So maybe the years are just off, like, by 100 years, which that would make sense.
Possibly. I don't know.
And
I like the time portal too.
And then what I was thinking about the bean thing is that maybe that's all they had to, like, that's all they ate ever.
So like, it would make them green then?
I don't know. Well, if that's all you're eating, then you are having deficiencies of other items.
Well, it's just like if you drink a lot of carrot juice or drink a lot
you will
turn orange. So maybe that happens with green vegetables also. But then you said that when they actually started eating, they
went back to normal. Once they started to eat normal foods of the green. And maybe that is why they ate the beans, because that's all they recognized as food. They'd never eaten anything else. So they're like, well, that's like, I'm not eating this or this. I don't know what this is. Oh, there's beans. I know what this is, because maybe that's all they could.
Maybe that's what they.
That's all they could grow in this the tin mine thing, and that's also why they were green, was because of the tin. Like they was just always around them.
I feel like you wouldn't really be able to grow anything in a mine.
Well, they said that some light did come in, so maybe just in little patches.
I don't know. I'm kind of stumped on this one.
I don't know. I don't know. But then where would the other kids have gone, and why wouldn't they have ever heard the church bells before? Maybe they wandered further than they usually do. Maybe they left.
Wait a minute, but you did say that they were tending to the father's animals.
Yes.
So there was an adult surviving.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because they would be like the third generation down.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if it was 70s, and then it would be 50 years later. Mm-hmm. It would be 50 years later after the massacre that these children arrived.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even be that generation down. It would be the next one. So it would have been the grandfather or grandmother that was able to escape the massacre when they were little. Because you have to think, back then, they were having kids at like 15, 16. They were dead by 30.
Yeah, that's why I said they had to be littler, because if they were teenagers, they would already be assumed like they're an adult.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not married off by the time you're 17, you're probably a spinster.
Oh, yeah, no, you're not. You're on your deathbed by 17.
Yeah.
You only have 2 years left to live, bitch.
You're done.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and stay tuned. Go to our YouTube for lives later if we decide to go on, because we always say we're going to go on, and then sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, sometimes we get distracted.
Well, also we were having an internet issue last week.
Oh my gosh.
For those that don't know,
I think
we had an internet issue.
A major internet issue, and that's why things went a little haywire. But I think that we have that all resolved. We should have no more glitches of anything. Yeah. We got an extension cord. Woo! We got an extension cord. So all glitchiness should be all good now. So Thank you guys so much for listening, and don't forget to
share, like, and subscribe.
And email us at conspiraciesunlocked@gmail.com. Bye. Okay, hi.
Hello. Joy.
Hi, Joy. Hi. I just loved her thing.
Kevin, and I don't know, does it say Michelle or Michael? I can't see from here.
I don't know. We're blind. See, I don't know how to get into
I can't see all the other names because I have to scroll.
Oh, I see. I can't see anything for some reason. Look at this. I should be able to go places.
You can't scroll on the computer and see who's there?
No. I have to go into, like, I really want to figure this out because I used to be able to just, like, click this and I would go into, like, insights and then I could, like, go do things and see things and be a part of everything. And now it's like I can't do shit. It's so annoying.
We're still learning.
We are always learning. You never stop learning. You never stop learning.
Technical things.
Technology. No, because you can't see any of our viewers right here.
That's so weird.
I don't know. It's fucking weird, all right? I don't know how to do anything. All right. Just turn it off. I'm done.
Okay, I'm going to turn it off now.
Just turn it off.
I'll see if I can see it up here. Let's see.
Yeah, just turn it off.
Thank you.